Ever had a gut feeling that someone wasn't telling you the whole truth? Or maybe you've caught yourself in a white lie and wondered how easy it is to spot a faker. The art of deception and the ability to detect it have been a part of the human experience for millennia. The ancient Stoics, those philosophers who sought virtue and reason, were particularly interested in the human condition, including the complexities of human interaction. They believed that understanding ourselves and others was key to living a good life. In this lesson, we'll delve into the world of deception and explore some common signs that someone might be lying. Drawing on the wisdom of the Stoics and modern psychology, we'll examine the subtle cues that our bodies give off when we're not being truthful. From the classic shifty eyes to more nuanced behaviors, we'll equip you with the tools to navigate the murky waters of deception. So, whether you're a seasoned detective or just looking to improve your interpersonal skills, this lesson will provide you with valuable insights into the fascinating world of human behavior. Let's dive in and uncover the secrets of the liars among us. Lesson 1. When stories don't add up. The art of BS detection. Ever been in a conversation where someone's story just didn't sit right with you? Maybe they were telling you about a wild weekend, but something about their tale seemed off. That's the power of a good yarn. It can be convincing, even if it's completely made up. The Stoics, those ancient Greek and Roman philosophers who were all about living a virtuous life, would say that honesty is a cornerstone of a good character. They believed that a person's word should be their bond. So, how can we tell when someone's story is more fiction than fact? Inconsistent storytelling. 101. One of the biggest red flags is when someone's story changes over time. Have you ever heard someone tell a story, and then later, when you bring it up, they tell a completely different version? That's a classic sign that something's fishy. Imagine you're hanging out with a friend, and they start telling you about a time they went skydiving. At first, they say they jumped alone, but then, later on, they mention their skydiving buddy, or maybe they say they jumped on a sunny day, but then they describe a cloudy sky. These inconsistencies can be a sign that someone is making things up, or at least exaggerating. The Stoics would say that this kind of behavior is a sign of a lack of integrity. If you can't trust someone to tell you the truth about something small, how can you trust them with something big? Why do people tell inconsistent stories? There are a few reasons why someone might tell a story that doesn't add up. Maybe they're trying to impress you, or maybe they're trying to cover up a mistake. Whatever the reason, it's important to be able to spot these inconsistencies. So, what can we do about it? Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Pay attention to details. Inconsistencies can be subtle, so pay close attention to the details of someone's story. Ask follow-up questions. If something doesn't add up, ask for clarification. Be skeptical, but not cynical. It's important to be cautious, but don't assume that everyone is lying to you. By understanding the signs of inconsistent storytelling, you can better protect yourself from being misled. And remember, the Stoics would say that the truth is always the best policy. Lesson 2. When less is more. The pitfalls of excessive detailing. Ever heard someone tell a story that was so detailed, it felt like they were reading from a script? While providing details can make a story more believable, too much detail can actually make it less credible. In this lesson, we'll delve into the concept of excessive detailing and explore why it can be a red flag when it comes to determining whether someone is being truthful. The drowning in details. The Stoics, with their emphasis on reason and virtue, would argue that the truth is simple and straightforward. While embellishing a story might make it more interesting, it can also make it harder to follow. When someone provides an excessive amount of detail, they might be trying to overwhelm you. By bombarding you with information, they hope you'll get lost in the details and overlook any inconsistencies in their story. Sound more convincing? They might believe that the more details they provide, the more believable their story will seem. However, this can often backfire. Cover up inconsistencies. Excessive detail can be used as a smokescreen to hide gaps in a story or to avoid answering difficult questions. A real-life example. Imagine your friend is telling you about a trip they took to a foreign country. They describe every meal they ate, every person they met, and every sight they saw. While it's nice to hear about their experiences, if they're providing so much detail that you can't keep track of it all, it might be a sign that they're making some of it up. The Stoic perspective. The Stoics believed in the importance of living in accordance with nature. When we try to embellish our stories or present ourselves in a false light, we are going against nature. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It is not what happens to us, but how we react to it that matters." Why does excessive detailing matter? Understanding the concept of excessive detailing can help us in several ways. Improved critical thinking. By being aware of this tactic, we can better evaluate the information we receive. Stronger relationships. When we can identify when someone is being dishonest, we can make more informed decisions about who we trust. Personal growth. By striving for honesty and authenticity in our own lives, we can build stronger relationships and live a more fulfilling life. In conclusion, while providing some details can make a story more engaging, excessive detailing can be a red flag. By understanding the reasons why people might use this tactic, we can better protect ourselves from being deceived and live a more honest life. Lesson 3. The eyes have it. The significance of eye contact. The window to the soul. They say the eyes are the window to the soul, and there's a lot of truth to that. Our eyes can reveal a lot about what's going on inside us. They can show happiness, sadness, anger, and even fear. But they can also be used to deceive. The Stoics, with their focus on reason and virtue, understood the power of the eyes. They believed that our eyes could reveal our true intentions. When we look someone in the eye, we're not just making eye contact. We're inviting them to connect with us on a deeper level. Why avoid eye contact? So, why would someone avoid eye contact? There are a few reasons. They're lying. When we lie, we often feel guilty or nervous. To avoid giving ourselves away, we might look away. They're uncomfortable. If someone is uncomfortable with a conversation or situation, they might avoid eye contact as a way to disengage. They're shy. Shyness can make it difficult for people to maintain eye contact, especially in social situations. They're respecting cultural norms. In some cultures, direct eye contact is considered rude or disrespectful. A real-world example. Imagine you're talking to a friend about a serious issue. As you're talking, you notice that they're avoiding your gaze. They keep looking around the room or down at their phone. This could be a sign that they're not being completely honest with you, or that they're uncomfortable with the topic. The Stoic perspective. The Stoics believed in the importance of living in accordance with nature. When we avoid eye contact, we are essentially hiding a part of ourselves. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." By maintaining eye contact, we show that we are actively listening and engaging in the conversation. So, what can we do about it? Pay attention to your own eye contact. When you're talking to someone, make sure you're maintaining eye contact. This will help you to build trust and rapport. Observe others. Pay attention to how people make eye contact. This can give you valuable clues about what they're thinking or feeling. Don't jump to conclusions. Just because someone avoids eye contact doesn't mean they're lying. There could be other reasons for their behavior. By understanding the significance of eye contact, we can better navigate the complexities of human interaction. And remember, as the Stoics taught us, the truth is always the best policy. Sources and related content. Lesson 4. Reading between the lines. Nervous body language. Your body speaks louder than words. Ever noticed how someone's body language can sometimes contradict what they're saying? It's like your body has a mind of its own, and it can give away your deepest thoughts and feelings. The Stoics, those ancient philosophers who were all about understanding human nature, would have been fascinated by the power of body language. Why do we get nervous? Nervousness is a natural human emotion. When we're nervous, our bodies release a cocktail of hormones that can cause physical changes, like sweating, trembling, and increased heart rate. These physical changes are often reflected in our body language. Common signs of nervousness. Fidgeting, tapping your feet, twirling your hair, or playing with a pen can all be signs of nervousness. Avoiding eye contact. As we've discussed, avoiding eye contact is a common sign of discomfort or deception. Crossed arms or legs. Crossed arms or legs can signal defensiveness or a closed-off attitude. Sweating. Excessive sweating can be a sign of anxiety or nervousness. A real-world example. Imagine you're on a job interview. You're sitting across from the interviewer and your palms are sweating. You keep fidgeting with your resume and you can't seem to make eye contact. Your body language is screaming, "I'm nervous." Even if you're giving great answers to the interviewer's questions, your body language might be undermining your confidence. The Stoic perspective. The Stoics believed that we should strive to control our emotions. They taught that by understanding our emotions, we can better manage them. When it comes to body language, the Stoics would say that it's important to be aware of how your body is reacting to different situations. By being mindful of your body language, you can project confidence and composure even when you're feeling nervous. So, what can we do about it? Practice mindfulness. Pay attention to your body and how it responds to different situations. Deep breathing. Deep breathing can help to calm your nerves and reduce physical symptoms of anxiety. Positive self-talk. Replace negative thoughts with positive ones. Practice good posture. Standing or sitting up straight can help you to feel more confident and assertive. By understanding the connection between our thoughts, feelings, and body language, we can become more aware of ourselves and better able to control our emotions. And remember, as the Stoics taught us, it's not what happens to us, but how we react to it that matters. Lesson 5. When we dig in our heels. Understanding defensive behavior. Why do we get so defensive? Ever been in a conversation where someone has said something that's really rubbed you the wrong way? Maybe you've felt attacked or misunderstood. It's natural to want to defend yourself in these situations, but sometimes our defensive reactions can make things worse. The Stoics, with their emphasis on reason and self-control, would argue that our defensive reactions are often driven by our egos. When we feel threatened or attacked, our ego kicks in and we go into protection mode. But this can often lead to misunderstandings and conflict. Common signs of defensive behavior. Blaming others. When we're defensive, we often blame others for our problems. Making excuses. We might make excuses for our behavior or downplay the seriousness of our mistakes. Arguing. We might become argumentative and try to win the argument at all costs. Stonewalling. We might shut down and refuse to communicate. A real-world example. Imagine you're giving a presentation at work and a colleague points out a mistake you made. Instead of taking the feedback graciously, you might get defensive and start arguing with your colleague. You might say things like, "Well, at least I didn't make the same mistake as you last week." This defensive reaction is likely driven by your ego, which is trying to protect you from feeling embarrassed or incompetent. The Stoic perspective. The Stoics believed that we should strive to be virtuous, and being virtuous means being able to accept criticism gracefully. When we're defensive, we're not being virtuous. We're letting our emotions get the best of us. So, what can we do about it? Practice mindfulness. Pay attention to your thoughts and feelings. When you notice yourself getting defensive, take a deep breath and try to calm down. Listen actively. When someone is criticizing you, try to listen to what they're saying without interrupting. Seek to understand. Try to see things from the other person's perspective. Validate their feelings. Acknowledge the other person's feelings, even if you don't agree with them. By understanding the roots of our defensive behavior, we can learn to manage our emotions more effectively and build stronger relationships. And remember, as the Stoics taught us, it's not what happens to us, but how we react to it that matters. Lesson 6. Dodging the bullet. Understanding the art of changing the subject. When words fail us. We've all been there, in a conversation that's going nowhere, or maybe heading somewhere we don't want to go. And sometimes the easiest way out is to change the subject. It's a conversational maneuver that we all use from time to time. But when does changing the subject become a sign of something deeper? The Stoics, those ancient philosophers who were all about living a virtuous life, would say that honesty and directness are key to good relationships. So, why do we sometimes feel the need to dodge a question or change the topic? Why change the subject? Avoiding discomfort. If a topic makes us feel uncomfortable or anxious, we might try to change the subject to avoid those feelings. Hiding something. Sometimes we change the subject because we don't want to reveal something that we're ashamed of or afraid of. Protecting someone's feelings. We might change the subject to avoid hurting someone's feelings. Avoiding conflict. If we can see a conversation heading towards an argument, we might try to change the subject to de-escalate the situation. A real-world example. Imagine you're having dinner with a friend and they start asking you about your ex. You're not ready to talk about it, so you quickly change the subject by asking them about their new job. The Stoic perspective. The Stoics believed that we should always strive to be honest and direct. However, they also understood that there are times when it might be necessary to tactfully avoid a difficult conversation. The key is to be mindful of our intentions and to choose our words carefully. So, what can we do about it? Be honest with yourself. If you're avoiding a topic, ask yourself why. Practice active listening. When someone is talking, try to really listen to what they're saying. This can help you to avoid misunderstandings and to respond more thoughtfully. Choose your words carefully. If you need to change the subject, do so in a way that is respectful and considerate of the other person's feelings. While changing the subject can be a useful tool, it's important to use it wisely. By understanding the reasons why we might want to change the subject, we can make more conscious choices about how we communicate with others. And remember, as the Stoics taught us, Honesty is always the best policy. Lesson 7. When words become a script. Overly rehearsed responses. Feeling like a robot. Ever had a conversation where someone's answers seemed a little too perfect, a little too rehearsed? It's like they're reading from a script, and no matter what you say, their response is always the same. This is what we call an overly rehearsed response. The Stoics, those ancient Greek and Roman philosophers who were all about living a virtuous life, would say that authenticity is key. When we're not being genuine in our interactions, we're not truly connecting with others. Why do we rehearse? To sound smart. Sometimes we rehearse our responses because we want to impress others or sound more intelligent. To avoid conflict, we might rehearse our answers to avoid difficult conversations or disagreements. To control the conversation, by having rehearsed responses, we can steer the conversation in the direction we want it to go. A real-world example. Imagine you're at a job interview. You've been practicing your answers to common interview questions for days. When the interviewer asks you about your biggest weakness, you launch into a well-rehearsed response about how you're too much of a perfectionist. While this might sound good on paper, it comes across as inauthentic and doesn't really tell the interviewer anything about you. The Stoic perspective. The Stoics believed in the importance of living in accordance with nature. When we try to present a false image of ourselves, we are going against nature. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It is not what happens to us, but how we react to it, that matters." So what can we do about it? Be yourself. It's okay to be imperfect. Authenticity is more attractive than perfection. Listen actively. Pay attention to what the other person is saying. Don't just wait for your turn to speak. Think on your feet. Don't be afraid to pause and think before you answer. Practice mindfulness. Pay attention to your thoughts and feelings. This can help you to be more present in the moment. By being more mindful and authentic in our interactions, we can build deeper connections with others. And remember, as the Stoics taught us, the truth is always the best policy. Lesson 8. Trust your gut. The power of intuition. That feeling in your tummy. Ever had that feeling in the pit of your stomach that something just isn't right? That's your intuition talking. It's that gut feeling, that sixth sense, that little voice inside your head that sometimes knows things before your conscious mind does. The Stoics, those ancient philosophers who were all about living in harmony with nature, would have called this our inner guide. Why trust your gut? While logic and reason are important, our intuition can often provide valuable insights. It's based on a combination of our past experiences, emotions, and subconscious observations. When you get a gut feeling, it's often your brain making connections that you're not consciously aware of. Quick decision-making. Our intuition can help us make quick decisions, especially in high-pressure situations. Avoiding danger. Our gut feeling can often warn us of potential danger, even if we can't explain why. Building relationships. Our intuition can help us to understand people on a deeper level and build stronger connections. A real-world example. Imagine you're meeting someone new for the first time. You're having a great conversation, but you can't shake this uneasy feeling in the pit of your stomach. Your gut is telling you something is off. Even though you can't put your finger on it, it might be worth listening to that feeling. The Stoic perspective. The Stoics believed that our emotions, including our intuition, were part of nature. They encouraged us to pay attention to these feelings, but not to let them control us. The goal was to find a balance between reason and emotion. So, how can you trust your gut more? Pay attention to your body. Notice the physical sensations that accompany your gut feelings. Practice mindfulness. Meditation and mindfulness can help you to become more attuned to your inner voice. Keep a journal. Write down your gut feelings and see if there are any patterns. Trust your instincts. Don't be afraid to follow your gut, even if it goes against what your head is telling you. While logic and reason are important tools, our intuition can be a powerful ally. By learning to trust your gut, you can make better decisions, build stronger relationships, and live a more fulfilling life. And remember, as the Stoics taught us, it's important to listen to the wisdom of your whole self, not just your rational mind. So, there you have it. 8 common signs that someone might be less than truthful. But remember, while these signs can be helpful, they're not foolproof. Everyone is different, and context matters. As the Stoics taught us, it's important to use our judgment and to consider the overall situation. Ultimately, the goal isn't to become a human lie detector, but to cultivate a deeper understanding of human behavior. By paying attention to these subtle cues, we can improve our ability to navigate complex social situations and build stronger relationships. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to us, but how we react to it that matters." When faced with deception, we can choose to be angry, hurt, or suspicious. Or we can choose to approach the situation with curiosity and compassion. By understanding the reasons why people might lie, we can respond in a way that is both effective and ethical. Remember, the ability to detect deception is just one tool in our interpersonal toolbox. By combining this knowledge with empathy, critical thinking, and a healthy dose of skepticism, we can become more discerning individuals.